Hi, I'm Nuan Sabella. This is my channel. This is the Learner's Curve, where I'm going to be talking to my friends and filmmakers about the process of the films they've made. And we're just going to talk about art and shit. So introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Ibrahim Ali. You can call me Mr. Ali if you want to. I have a YouTube channel called Beefcake Supreme Force, and I just made a feature film over the summer called Invisible and Real.
So yeah, Invisible and Real. I guess give us a general log line.
So, of course, this is assuming you've already seen it. No, I'm kidding. It's basically about this college student who goes back to his hometown, and he bumps into an invisible alien doing research on humans, and he spends the day talking to him.
All right, so what inspired you to make it? Like, why?
So, I think a lot about how to make movies with no budget.
Yeah.
Because I'm broke.
Aren't we all?
And I was trying to think about, because I'm from Cary, North Carolina, and I don't know any filmmakers there.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about how can I do this by myself. And I already did a movie where because this is my second feature film.
Yeah.
And I've already done a film where I was the only actor physically present. So I decided to do one where I'm talking to someone invisible.
Cool.
And I just basically respond to myself in voiceover.
Right.
So I thought that was a pretty practical solution.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just shot all over Cary.
You did an entire feature film, and you're like walking around at night and stuff. So how was that? Like, did that take a lot of effort, setting up your shot and going to like different parts of town and all this stuff?
Well, that's kind of just how I do. That's kind of like what I know best in a way. Like making YouTube videos was kind of how I started making films.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of used to recording myself at this point. And yeah, compared to shooting other people, it is a little, you're less inventive. You can't, for example, holding the camera, is something that I would love to do, but
yeah,
with this movie, it's not really possible.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's kind of just finding a nice way to frame a shot, and then just shooting yourself.
Shooting yourself. All right.
Something I dream of doing every night before I go to sleep.
Right. Until Invisible and Real gets into festivals, and then you'll immediately have your will to live again.
That's my mental health depends on that. Yeah.
All right. So I want to talk to you about specifically your work with feature films, because that's something that I know I'm like scared of doing. Mm-hmm. So what's your ideology on that?
No, I'm very much inspired by Joel Haver, who actually responded to a video of mine in the comment, who commented on one of my videos.
Casual flex.
Who I didn't know who he was at the time, but yeah, he makes feature films and posts them on YouTube, and he's very much like, just make a movie with whatever you have. It doesn't need to be amazing. It doesn't need to have a budget. You don't need to spend any money. Just tell a story that you want to tell. And I'm someone who I would like to make studio films.
Yeah.
But so now I'm just like, I don't want to dream of making films. I don't want to be the guy who thinks about doing something forever and never does it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to. First time I made a film, it was a movie called The Night of the Dog, and it was that was when I just wanted to make a film to say I made a film, and now I feel like I'm trying to scale up a little more. And yeah, I think I say just make a movie, and I get it, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think when I asked you once about making a feature film, you said you wanted to wait until you knew you could make like a really great film.
Yeah.
I totally get that, and I think that's definitely a legitimate way to, same truck, a legitimate way to make a film. But I'm very much in the thought of just go for it.
Yeah. What is your writing process? Because I personally, I struggle with getting, you improv'd.
That was the first time I ever improv'd a film.
Okay, so that was really impressive to me, because I watched Joel Haver and it's like, how did he improv this 15-minute thing?
Yeah.
You improv this entire thing. Not only that, but did you also improv the alien, when you went back and recorded the alien's lines? That's all you went off your improv conversation from.
Yeah.
Okay, so how?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. You just have to remember what you were saying, because in the film, because I'm basically talking to myself.
Yeah.
So I just be like, hey, how are you doing?
Right.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and you kind of just have to remember.
Yeah.
And there were a few times when I was editing where I had no idea what I said.
Yeah.
And I had to make up something new. But honestly, I knew that that would be difficult if I were, as my character, not as the alien, if I were just saying words like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree. Like, I had to be the one more engaged in the conversation
Yeah.
because I would just forget.
Right.
And sometimes I would, if it was a shot, reverse shot, because I would be off camera. So I would just be like, hi, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
Good. And I knowing that it will cut to you.
Right.
Or to nothing, you know? So that was the way I improvised.
Okay.
It was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. I was kind of scared because I'm not even like I like writing. And my first feature film was written.
Yeah.
But no, it was a really great experience. I think I'd do it again.
Yeah. Because you have a lot of like moments in there that seem like written. They seem like they're like predetermined moments that are meant to like speak to a certain theme. So how did you stumble upon those when improvising?
Yeah, there were no real plans. Like, for example, I didn't know how I'd end the film.
Yeah.
I shot it chronologically. So it started out like I bump into the alien in the park.
Yeah.
And I spent some time in the park doing various things. And as I was shooting the movie, and I did reshoot a lot of scenes because they just weren't that good.
Mm-hmm.
Or I remember one time there was literally no audio for any of it. So I got to, as I made the film, I kind of found the themes more and more. And I kind of, what I knew thematically, because the movie does explore like, because you're teaching an alien what humans are like.
Yeah.
So my thought was like, what if the human teaching the alien actually doesn't know a lot about a lot of things or knows less than he thinks he does.
Right.
So I ended up making the film like a lot more personal than I thought I would, and there was no like clear-cut theme. Mm-hmm. There was no like mission statement with the movie, and I think that makes it more open-ended and you have your own interpretation of it. I bet.
I agree.
That maybe I don't fully agree with. Like, for example, you might think the film is about how amazing I am.
Yeah.
How, you know,
I feel like
smart
you do.
I am. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Something tells me you do agree with that interpretation.
Okay, yeah, I do agree with it.
Well, okay, so yeah, but also like this film was incredibly personal. And I texted you this the other day. I was like, this is the amount of like personal little stories in there and little vignettes. It's like, I know I couldn't do that with the film, at least not as of yet. So was that difficult for you, or was that just like, whatever, I'll put it
when
out
I was
there?
shooting it, it was not difficult because this doesn't make sense, but when I was shooting it, I felt like I wouldn't even show anyone because I was working full time basically during the summer, and on my off days I would shoot the movie. So it was just like the little project I made over the summer that I could, go to when tired of work and everything. Mm-hmm. But when I was editing, I was watching, like I literally stopped watching certain scenes just because it was like, am I actually going to show people this? Like I was thinking about like quietly uploading it on YouTube and like not really talking much about it. When I made my first film, I was like, everyone, look, I made a film.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, with this movie, it really sunk in that this was super personal when I was editing, but it was too late. I was like, fuck it. I gotta commit to it. And I love movies like that is the thing. I love movies that are personal. Even if I don't love the movie itself, I can respect the filmmaker for making something personal.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do that. I never expected to do that. Like, I'm not that kind of director, honestly, that would just be like, hey, everyone,
rip it from your own life and
this is my life,
Yeah.
But like, I wanted to do it at least once because I do love movies like that. So that's what I did. That was a goal with this movie, if any.
Just not to blow my own horn, toot my own horn, but you said that you took inspiration from Scenes of Summer, also on this channel. I looked at that camera accidentally.
I did.
Were there any other films that were inspirations for this film? Or, I mean, obviously with it being so personal, it's like a lot of it's from you, but were there outside?
Yeah, so I did watch Scenes of Summer mostly because I was going to shoot nature. And I was thinking about movies like, what are movies where you see a lot of trees and you're in a park or whatever.
Right.
And I thought of Scenes of Summer. I couldn't really think of any other movies. I'm sure there are plenty of other ones. But yeah, I was trying to just get in that mental space of like, this is how you shoot it.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was nothing I like took specifically, but it was definitely getting me in that headspace. And I definitely consider it like an inspiration. But from a great filmmaker. No one's about.
Thank you.
That's just my advice is rip off this guy.
Steal. Yeah, great artists don't copy, they steal.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but the other movie was Benediction
by
Terrence Davies. and also just Terrence Davies in general. I love his use of crossfades. So editing wise, that was a big inspiration.
Yeah.
Like, because crossfades are usually associated with iMovie, first of all, like not like amateur. I think it's kind of looked down upon, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's kind of outdated now. They used to be more popular.
Yeah,
in
with
films.
film, because you can overlap the film a little bit. With digital, it's like you don't have to do that.
Right.
Usually it's to transition to another location.
Yeah, or like a passage of time or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But to use it as like a creative decision, like, because sometimes, I don't know how to explain it, but like I feel like crossfades do communicate like a passage of time, but like in a mental way. You know what I mean?
The deep philosophical way.
Yes. Yeah. So that's how I use crossfades. I use crossfades to show like maybe your mind is a little foggy.
Yeah.
Maybe you're a little unsure of things.
Yeah.
And it's also just, it looks nice sometimes.
I agree.
So that's editing wise, Terrence Davies films.
Okay.
Please watch Benediction.
Yeah, no, crossfade. I feel like there's also like a romance to crossfades, if that makes sense. Like I love Call Me by Your Name, as you know, and that's a film that like has lots of like crossfades and very slow editing.
Oh, really? I don't remember that.
And I used like crossfades in Scenes of Summer. I don't know, I feel like there's this like serenity, like calm serenity to them.
Totally.
And I felt the same way with your film. It was like, I think you were in the creek, and I like that one line where you're like, as humans say, it's water under the bridge. Good joke. But it was after that scene, and then it kind of crossfaded to the next bit. I was like, that was kind of that nice like little moment of you forgiving Alien for having just like freaked out about going off the trail. Yeah. And then you get this crossfade. I don't know really how to put it into words, but there's this like just very emotional kind of slowness. I don't know.
You're definitely right. And I think it's funny when you start getting into filmmaking, and there are certain things that you start off not liking, because I probably would have considered crossfades corny early on, but there are other things like zooms. Yeah. I know there are a lot of people who don't like zooms. At first I didn't, because I was like, oh, people can't zoom in. Yeah. Just do a push in or something. But you know, that's the thing about movies, is like it's not just about realism. Yeah. You know,
there's a language there.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's about feeling. Like I think that's the number one thing. Filmmaking is about how do you provoke an emotion. Not that it's like, how do I make someone cry really hard, but it's like, how can I get someone in the same mental space, or create like what you said with Serenity. Yeah. I totally agree with that with crossfades, and I think that definitely takes the audience there.
Did you have any zooms in Invisible and Real? I can't really remember.
Nope, because a lot of it was stationary shots, because I was the only person.
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess you could always do a digital zoom, but those are never as good.
No, but there were only a few times where I got to like pan the camera. I think there's one shot where I'm holding the camera, where I'm like dribbling a soccer ball. Yeah. Which I didn't like that shot, to be honest. Like it was actually longer, but thankfully I cut kind of earlier. Okay. It was also kind of out of focus. Hey. But listen, I'm still perfect.
It was an artistic choice.
It was an artistic choice, because my character was out of focus.
Yeah. You're just like the foggy crossfades.
Yeah, keep up.
I wanted to talk about music. So, tell me about that, and just like tell the audience, because they don't know.
Okay, so my favorite band is the Tea Club, and I use their music for the film, and I wanted to use their music for reference to how big they are. They get about 800 monthly listeners on Spotify. So, and I follow them on Patreon. So I've texted them before, you know. So because I'm dumb, I didn't ask them for their music. I kind of just edited with their music, and I was like, all right, if they say no, because I felt like they would say yes, just because they're not very big, and you know, all publicity is good publicity or whatever. So I was like, I feel like they would say yes, and I just never considered using like public domain music. Yeah. So I edited with their music, and I texted them after I finished editing, hey, can I use your music? I love your music. I'm a huge fan. Glazing, just a little glaze, you know, to get them to say yes. Yeah. And then I asked them for permission and stuff, and it took about like a week, I think, for them to respond. Maybe not that long, but it was about a week, and it was like the longest week of my life. Yeah. But they were actually doing some shows during that time, so they responded and they said, hey, that's totally fine. And then I was like, thank you so much. And I was basically ready to upload the movie.
Yeah.
And I sent it to them. A few days later, I got a really nice message from the lead singer.
We'll pop it up on the screen to
Oh, yes.
pause the video so you can read.
Well, no, I don't want to put them on blast,
I'm kidding. We won't actually put that up there.
Yeah, you can just type. Basically, he said, Ibrahim, you're so good looking and intelligent. And the Beefcake Supreme Force is my favorite YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that. So yeah. That was my first time, I think. With my first feature film, I used no music. So editing with music was really fun. I really liked it. And honestly, my favorite parts of the movie are the scenes with music. And I think it just
I think it does make the
adds
scenes
something
a lot.
so well.
Yeah, it does.
And you know, honestly, I didn't think anything specific with the music. Like I knew the T Club had certain songs that gave this certain feeling. So I didn't think of any song specifically. I was just like, okay, I know they have like a song that's very like calm and peaceful.
Yeah.
I'll find something later. All right, shoot the scene, and then I'm looking for the song. There were a few times where I was like kind of struggling with finding the right song.
Yeah.
But eventually I was able to find all of them. And there was one scene in particular that was really difficult where I was in my living room and I decided to reprise one of the songs from earlier. And one of the toughest things I think with music is like, when do I put it over people talking? Because I think when there's nothing happening, like walking, for example, like it's good to have music to kind of glue it together and have some momentum.
Yeah.
But with talking, it's like, well, is it just better if we hear them, or should we, you know, is it, because when it comes to music, Scorsese said, close friend of mine, said,
Marty.
Yeah, Marty, I call him Marty. But yeah, Marty said, I don't want music to inform people of things they already know.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a sad scene, what good does a sad song really do?
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, like what is the music adding instead of like forcing?
Yeah.
So that to me, I think is really important.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's also fine to just have like a mood setter. It's not that serious.
Yeah. Okay. Let me dive more into improv with you, because for me that's like a mythical beast that like I don't know how to even tackle. I don't consider myself to be good at it. So is it even something that you can explain, or is it just something that you have to just be good at and you do it?
So I think when people think of improv, they think of like comedy.
Yeah.
Which I don't even like theater people. Like, like when I took a theater class, we did like improv games and they are like fun, but it's just like, it's not my thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, doing those scenes, I knew what the scenes were about, and I never did it like first take. Maybe sometimes, but like usually I would refine it a little more. So when it came to improvising, it's like, what is the point of the scene? What am I trying to talk about? And my goal with the movie was like, let me make a movie that's completely for me. You know, like the kind of movie that I would get 100% that maybe other people may not be able to like completely access.
Yeah.
But in the process of doing that, you end up like, you know, it can be, you're not like, I'm not the most unique person in the world or anything. Like plenty of people
You're a ding ring. Watch the movie, you'll get that joke.
Okay, so that's okay. What was I saying? Improv, yeah. So improv, it's just like, what is the point of this scene? And let me just like, you just kind of find it as you're doing it, you know. So that's kind of how I did it. And I did reshoot. And I did just to make it better. Yeah. And I did like do other takes just to, because you find like there are like moments that are really good. You know, a lot of it can be like fluff. Or there's some moments that are really good, and it's like, okay, let me lean into this like substantive stuff.
Right. How do you know in the moment to choose like what you think will lead to something? Especially because you don't have the lines pre-recorded for Alien. You don't know what his responses will be like. So, you know, it's like what.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to think about it. It's a really simple thing of like, would I watch this? You know, because there gets to a point where it's like, all right, what are they actually, like, what am I getting out of this scene? Yeah. There are things that I cut from the film, like, that were just not that just didn't really add anything. Yeah. So, it's all about, like, what is the thesis of this scene? What is the point of this? Now, I mean, some people, they like having conversations that are kind of pointless because, I mean, people do that. Yeah. Like, people have conversations that's like, there's no grand lesson from it or anything. Sometimes it's just like to understand the character a little more. But I think the way you know is just you're just BSing. You're just making it up as you go along, and then maybe you bring something up. There's a scene where I bring up work and love.
That's the scene I was going to bring up. Yeah.
There was and I actually had no idea what I was going to do, because there's a scene in the movie where I'm looking at this like playground from elementary school, and I'm walking back to the field, and I told myself, well, I want another scene or shot of me getting to the field. So like, what can the conversation be? And that was a bit where I was like, how do I even talk about this?
Yeah.
Like, how do I talk about anything right now? And I was just saying, like, doing so many takes of just nonsense, fluff, just nothing, no point in watching it. I was thinking about even just not shooting it. And then I thought about like, okay, I think the alien should challenge me a little bit here. Mm-hmm. And there should be some tension, because I do know in the future, or in the coming shots, there's going to be some tension.
Yeah. So
I was like, okay, how about I bring up, how about the alien is dissatisfied with the answers that I'm providing? Mm-hmm. And that ended up being kind of the theme of the film.
Yeah.
Or kind of the central drama of the movie. So it ended up pretty good. It was just kind of like, I did bring up like, have you ever experienced this? And I was like, oh, I should lean into that.
Yeah.
And then I came up with that scene. That was actually the scene that I can't watch. Like,
really?
When I was editing, I was just like, let me just skip over this shit.
Well, that was probably, out of all the scenes, like, I feel like that one was the message that most stuck with me, just because I can kind of relate to that, like, feeling like everything is just separated between work and love.
I think those are like the most interesting movies, because it's real. Like, it's not of course I love movies that are not personal, that are just kind of
just
fun.
like crime thrillers and cool stuff like that.
Yeah. But even with those movies, sometimes you get something personal out of it, like with Casino by my friend Marty. I was thinking about that movie, and I was like, why did he even make this? And then I thought about like the main character and how he's kind of a workaholic. Yeah. And like Scorsese was making a ton of movies, like a movie a year or two. Yeah. And bad relationships with women. He was like, I don't know his love life, my friend's love life, but on Wikipedia he's got like 4 divorces or something. Yeah. Wow. Like, and then you kind of notice like certain things, and it's like, oh, I kind of can tell why he liked this movie. Yeah. Or wanted to tell this movie. Yeah. And there are certain things like, and you can do that with any genre, which is cool. Yeah.
And I think that's like, that is the beauty of it, because you said earlier, it's like, would I want to watch this film? That's what I based off of. And I think that's what like successful filmmakers go by. Like Denis Villeneuve was like, I make movies for me and me only. So I feel like that's what we got.
I don't believe him.
You don't believe him? You don't believe Villeneuve? Why not?
I don't.
You don't think he made
Dune
for
I
himself?
think he's great, and I think he clearly loves Dune, but sometimes I do think it's a problem. Because I think you do have to think like, what is the audience getting out of this? I definitely agree with make movies that are fuck the audience in some ways. Yeah. But it's also like, if I'm making, like, there were scenes that I cut from the movie because the scenes were just things that I would get. Yeah. But like, it would be genuinely pointless to anybody else. Yeah.
I'm definitely like, I'm in the camp of I'm making this movie for me, and I'd say maybe a while back I would have told you that like, oh, my dream is to be big, not big Hollywood, but like mid-level, like directing a $5 million A24 movie. Like I need to be at that level, blah blah, and if I don't make it at that level, I will not be happy. And I feel like as of recent, I've become a little bit more accepting, and it's like, if I ended up making films that I, spent $10,000 into and then just put it on YouTube, I think I'd be happy with that.
That's the way to do it. And that, but it's interesting what you say about making a $10,000 movie, because the future of like Hollywood is so like, to me, like so unpredictable with AI and producers and studios being a lot more stingy about like, saving money. But the thing about independent film is like, it is always the best time. The present is always the best time to make an independent film. Yeah. And it's always the most you can do with $10,000. Like $10,000 now means something very different. Like 5 years ago, even. Yeah. Like now, $10,000, if you have like a good editor, even if you know like those like After Effects or whatever it's called, like visual effects stuff, you can make a fucking amazing movie. Yeah. And like I feel like that's what kind of gives me hope about the future of like film, because like $10,000 is great. But distribution is, I think, the biggest issue with independent film.
Yeah.
Because what you say about YouTube, it's like, I can watch your film about like your late grandma, be like, oh my God, it's so personal. Wait a second, Mr. Beast uploaded giving 50 blind children Mr. Beast chocolate bars?
Yeah.
What? so yeah, like that's the thing. But then there's also Vimeo. Do you have Vimeo?
I do, yeah.
It costs money
For more than I think 2 or 3 uploads, you have to pay a subscription.
Yeah, I thought about putting my film on Vimeo because it's also better quality.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, because I had a big issue with YouTube because of the crossfades.
The
what we were talking
compression
about
and all
earlier.
that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I was so fucking mad about it.
Yeah.
And then I watched Joel Haver's latest film, It Takes Time.
Yeah.
And it had the same thing. It was like the crossfades were a little pixely, a little, not clean.
Yeah.
But when I was looking at Vimeo, the most that they let you upload is 1 gigabyte.
Yeah, that fucking sucks.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, so I think we need something that is like in between the two.
Yep.
Where it's like user friendly, but also specifically for filmmakers.
Yeah.
I think that is like the most important thing.
Yeah.
That like we need an independent film. What do you think about like the future of independent film?
I agree. I think it's a really good time for independent filmmakers because you have make films with these things we
Look
got
at this
here.
beautiful podcast.
When you're with a group of like-minded people who are all oh yeah, I want to do this, do that. And I feel like it's easier to be a little bit more optimistic about the future because we can just make films and put them wherever.
But every once in a while there is like an Everything Everywhere All at Once, which does have a budget of $20 million or something. But there is those movies that come out that are like, oh my God, this is like such a great movie, and I've never, it's not the kind of thing that I watch.
Yeah.
So I think there's hope in that, especially horror movies, because horror movies like Skinamarink, there's this, I don't know if you've heard of the film Milk and Cereal. It's on YouTube. I found out about it through a Variety article, and it was like this movie uploaded on YouTube, and it was a found footage film with a budget of $800, and it's got like 600,000 views right now.
Wow.
It was uploaded like 2 weeks ago or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's like always these things that happen where people just kind of, a small film just kind of catches wind.
Yeah.
And
I think like the biggest inspiration is seeing people who are YouTubers make like real films. Like we were talking about Danny Gevirtz and making his film that's been to festivals and
I Think I'm Sick.
Distribution.
And Anton Shai, he made Sudbury Devil. Actually, what he's doing right now, he's doing a streaming service where he takes the submissions of like filmmakers who have made films like the Sudbury Devil, and he gives them for 99. He sells it for 99 cents and gives you 100% of the profit.
Oh.
And there's also like a pay what you want option.
Yeah.
So if you want to do more. So cool. I thought that was like super cool.
Yeah.
That's like really awesome.
Yeah.
If Invisible and Real was like the Sudbury Devil, which is a period piece horror movie, it's not at all what I did, but I would have definitely submitted it there. But
yeah.
But no, that sounds like the kind of thing that should happen more often.
Yeah. I think like for people who have the traditional dream of directing for Universal or something, that kind of reality is slowly fading. But for people who are really just truly interested in the craft and don't care particularly where the film goes, it's getting easier and easier to make films. And I think the future looks good. The film industry doesn't look good, but the art of film looks good.
Yeah, and it's so weird, like even the thought of like getting into the film industry, because it's like, all right, yeah, like even getting into the film industry seems kind of crazy, because I think I was talking to someone about this a while ago, but yeah, it's like film festivals used to be like the way.
Yeah.
It used to be a place to find filmmakers.
Yep.
And it was like, I felt like in the 2000s, you could submit like a shitty short film to Sundance, and then Netflix was like, hey, do you want to make a miniseries for us?
Yeah.
But I'm kind of exaggerating, obviously, but like now it's film festivals. Now, like, look at Sundance. Like, they're premiering fucking Best Picture nominees now.
Yeah.
Like, they're not friendly to the average filmmaker,
No.
And I think, and I do think like nepotism and stuff is a big issue, because it's like, well, why should I spend the time and energy in finding talented people when I can just be like, hey, do you know someone who could, like if you're an actor and I need to cast like a son, like a child, you can find a talented child actor, or you can just be like, hey, do you have a kid?
Yeah.
Like that could play your character. That could play
and
the character.
I mean, that's just like, I don't think that part is new. I think that's just networking and having your circle is just the way of the industry.
Yeah, but I'm saying the avenues are being closed, like film festivals.
Yeah, you're
are
right.
nowhere near as reliable. It always took a lot of skill and effort, but they're nowhere near as reliable as they used to be.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like to be in the film industry, you have to make your own industry.
Yeah,
I think someone said that. I forgot who said that.
I think I forget one of the Mark Duplass or something like that.
Maybe.
I think he had a little talk about like, you have to create your own crusade
circle
or something like that. You
make your own circle.
All right. So for the last, I'm going to try to come up with one last question that will cap off. We'll bring it back to invisible and real. Mm-hmm. What did this film mean for you, and what did you learn? Anything? What did you learn from making it?
I learned that while editing like my footage, that I'm probably the most photogenic person,
of course,
of all time.
Yeah.
What it means to me, I don't know. I just.
That's fair.
I don't know. Maybe I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Just keep it a mystery.
What was the most challenging aspect of making the film? And I feel like we already talked about. I feel like the answer would be like submitting the personal stuff in there and all that stuff, but we already talked about that.
No, that wasn't the hardest part.
That's not the hardest part?
I actually really enjoy doing it.
Okay.
Like, especially in the moment. Editing, I did say that when I was editing, I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
No one's going to see this. He's going to call me a ding ring.
Marty.
Marty's going to see this. Oh my God. But like, when I was shooting it, they're playing over there.
I don't know. Soccer.
But yeah, that shooting the personal scenes, improvising those scenes, it was actually really cathartic, and it was really nice, and it was nice to like bring that part out. It felt like relieving in a way, like sharing that. Not that I had like so much trauma or anything that I need to unveil. Like I'm very happy with my life and everything. But it was nice to get that out in the open.
Yeah.
The hardest part of making the film, it's probably editing. Like with DaVinci Resolve and my laptop not being amazing, a very exciting answer. But yeah, that was kind of the toughest part. And also what I said about the music.
Yeah.
Worst week of my life.
Yeah.
It was painful.
Torturous.
But you know what? It all
paid off.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I liked
in sound by the way.
And sound.
It was actually super easy to do it.
But it sucked after.
Because you just put your shotgun mic on there. But fixing it in post.
Yeah.
If I can give any advice, make filming as hard as possible for your editor later, and just fix it in post. Don't make it easier for you.
That was what we were saying. The new name of this, instead of the learner's curve, fix it in post.
You already said learner's curve.
Yeah, I know, but this is the first step, so I can change it whenever I want.
Okay, this is either fix it in post or learner's curve.
Or I'll dub it over. Fix it in post, and my mouth is off.
Wait, say fix it in post.
Okay. Fix it in post.
Yeah.
Perfect. That'd be good.
But yeah, thanks for having me though.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Very talented friend. You know what? I did learn. At first I thought this was a teacher's curve. No, you know what? I did learn.
He had to do it.
Well, is it going to be called learner's curve? What?
Bye.